Looking back and knowing where we've come from and at all the obstacles that have been placed in our way, the torture, the hangings, even the many mysterious killings of some, makes me wonder how I'm even alive, sane, and here today. I will not be quiet, nor would I ever forget the stories my parents and grandparents told about the many sacrifices our ancestors made. It wasn't that long ago when they were captured, chained, shackled together, then shipped far away in a stockade. Even if they try to silence me by cutting off my tongue and ears, my eyes would always tell stories of their precious fears, our stories and our fears. Like the fear of being stripped down naked, tied while stinging lashes thrust upon our rears while questioning the existence of God ever being there, making us pray that God was here and wishing that this old life's end was near. We are the proud descendants of those who were treated worse than bearing dirt, whose fathers and mothers were beaten, bought, sold, rented, and traded. There are no words that can describe the magnitude of our hurt. Everything about us, they told us, was hated. Slave owners didn't care about separating an African man from his family. They were only concerned with their own satisfaction, status, wealth. To them, we were all just a commodity. They didn't give a darn how we felt. My great-grandfather's father, Peter, was born enslaved with a value of $538. That was the amount he was appraised. Listed right there on the inventory sheet of slave owner Allen T. Overby, recently deceased, then bequeathed as chattel property to another slave owner. I condemn and shame by not mentioning the name to whom he was released. But at the very age of 7, Peter was separated from his family, ripped from the loving arms of his weeping mother, Jenny, snatched, shirt soaking wet with the tears of his brothers. Frank was 4 and 2-year-old Joe. Did Peter ever see his family again? Years I've searched, and I still don't know. But as long as I have breath, I will continue to tell our stories. Welcome to Poetry Street. This is the room without a roof where every voice is heard, and we're so happy to have you here at the Riverhead Free Public Library, and also we're happy to have all of you on Zoom. Thank you so much for coming today. New York has always been the gathering and trading place for many of the indigenous people, and we acknowledge that we are guests on this land. Poetry Street and our work here is located in the unceded and ancestral lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers. Also the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, the Montaukett, the Reckonwalk, the Mansay, and the Haudenosaunee. And we acknowledge and pay respect to the many indigenous people who live on this land and continue to make ongoing contributions. And now it is my honor to introduce you to this wonderful lady over here. I'm so glad that she's here. I'm so glad to have Mike here. This wonderful lady, Maggie Bloomfield, she's the author of Sleepless Nights. She's an Emmy Award winner, and I'm just so honored that she's here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maggie Bloomfield.
What an introduction. Welcome, everybody. Yes, welcome to Poetry Street. Chip said it, the room without a roof where every voice is heard. Our mission is diversity. Chip, that beautiful reading at the beginning is in honor of Black History Month this month. We're celebrating here with all of you Poetry Street began about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, at the Blue Duck Bakery. It was the love child of Susan Dingle and Bubby Brown, who's back there, as part of the Jumpstart project that was sponsored by East End Arts. We used to meet at the Blue Duck until it closed. Then we wandered around a bit. Then something called a pandemic hit. And we went on Zoom. And then the Riverhead Library, thank you, Riverhead Library, invited us to hold our event here each month. The last Saturday of the month, 2 to 4. We're so happy to be here. And we're so happy that you guys on Zoom and you guys out here are here this afternoon. We have a tradition here. It's called a community poem. The community poem jar is back on the table. What we invite you to do is write a line, any line that sounds vaguely poetic to you. Put it in that jar. I will put the lines together and read the poem to you. You have to come back next month to hear it, of course. I'm going to read you the one from January. Remember, these were single lines. I wander lonely as a laundromat, a church with no comfort. All my darlings are dead. The stream runs cold, but in my mind, thoughts warm. Your soul and mine flow like tributaries to the sea. A spectrum of love and prayer inspires and exalts, fortitude, perseverance, relevant to all. Love seems to last today. We have wonderful, wonderful features today. I'm happy to introduce them. Each one will read for about 12 minutes. Then we will have an open mic, and then time permitting, if like 400 people don't read, the features will come back and do an encore at the end of the program. Now, we like you to really respond to everybody who reads. If you love them, clap, applaud, yell, make noise in the library, okay? If you don't like them, applaud, yell. We've had people come back and back and back to read. Maybe they started out, they get better every single time. So if you're here for the first time and you haven't read, come back next time with something to read, okay? Our first feature today is Herb Wahlsteen. Herb earned a BA in English from California State, Fullerton, an MA in English from Columbia, and he was a former high school teacher in New York City. His poetry has placed in the Yale Series of Younger Poets Contest and the Writer's Digest 77th Annual Writing Competition rhyming category. Herb is published in Long Island Quarterly, The Long Islander, The Lyric Magazine, Paumanok Interwoven, Paumanok Transitions, and many more. I am happy to introduce Herb Wahlsteen.
Thank you, Maggie, and thank you, Chipper. Thank you for inviting me to read. That's great. I really appreciate it. So anyway, I'm going to begin with two longer poems. The first one is in the pessimistic vein of William Blake's Songs of Experience. The second one is in the more optimistic vein of William Blake's Songs of Innocence. Both poems were written, or at least begun, I've rewritten them zillions of times, in 1970. I was actually 17 and a high school senior at Sachem High School back then. And the first one especially deals with problems that were current then, but sadly still problems. Anyway, let's get started. Rebecca's Reverie, 1970, Bellevue Hospital, New York, New York. I wake this morning, bitter, cold, and longing for warm childhood days. I wake to see today and pain made gray with soot and rainy haze. This morning, my memories roam to when I was just 6 years old, when each day brought more mystery and feeling than my heart could hold, to times when woods shone brown and green, and soft winds whistled with cardinals, where I tracked sounds of tiny feet and played with playful animals. 1959, a home in Camp Springs, Maryland. I see that time the sky and I were smiling with deep purity. I ran through daisies, flocked like sheep, until my shepherd eyes grew sleepy. I dozed with drowsy ferns. We slept on mossy beds. I woke. Blue jays were bellowing bright canticles, while flying through light honey rays. I hid within shade under oaks. The sun lit up the crystal eyes upon the sweating stream. Upset, she sprayed close flies with her wet sighs, while lazily crawling on rocks. I laughed. Brown leaves, like brown frock sprites with feathers, tickled my bare feet. I laughed with 6-year-old delight. Just then, I heard another laugh. The joy that echoed mine came from my wildly fun friend George. With whoop and yell, he cried, "My lady, I've come to free you from this dragon that holds you prisoner." And George, with his long oaken brand, fought, kicked, and slew his dragon. I replied, "George, he is dead like his curse." "I'm saved, my lord." The rose-cheeked lord and I began to laugh again. George was quite proud of his strong skill and blood-stained brand. We rode dream steeds through sunny paths. With young imagination, we rode, playing visionary games. Our laughter topped the tallest tree. With hearts as light as bounding deer, Lil John and guileless Judy ran through the woods to join our games. The winds and we played aimlessly. A hill became our castle lawn. The trees became weird wizards' towers. With streams we sailed on seas of blue and found large lands of fragrant flowers. We played and played, then finally went on home when sinister dusk spread her haunting witch's cloak across the sky. Wearily, we drooped to bed. While praying during that calm night, I thanked great God for all his good. I thanked him for my happy day, my dear warm friends, the living woods. While sleeping in my cozy bed, I dreamed blessed dreams from night till day. I saw our laughing children deep in our old paradise at play. 1970, Bellevue Hospital, New York, New York. Thunder shakes me from my reverie. I watch the whipping rain while weighing why George lost his long oaken brand, his fancy for dragon slaying, and found seared jungles, burning bombs, and chemically killed humans. Little John now lives in Canada. Does he still laugh through woods with friends like we once did when we were young? Or is he hungry and alone? Poor guileless Judy got married to city life. Her small child, Joan, will she care for cracked concrete forests, hard asphalt streams, gray choking air? Sadly, I saw our lost Eden. It's gone like dreams. The woods aren't there. Synthetic suburbs grow instead. Feces float through the only streams. Broken glass cuts the sprite-like leaves, and mobs stampede where flowers gleamed. The sky can't breathe, the sun can't see. The molten lead with which they're draped is their polluted shroud. They're dead, like the war dead. Nothing escaped. Then, when I cried and almost died, attempting pure oblivion, I got locked up to learn to live. But never will this dead world win. And that was published in Suffolk County Poetry Review 2017. Now for a poem that's a little more optimistic. A steeple stands secluded. Morning. Secluded, concealed from a deafening, burning life, are the steeple and the village. The steeple, broadly beaming, is a beacon of hush, monumental yet tender too. This morning all are lit in blazing peace. Brilliant beneath a crimson sun glow violet mountains, crystal streams flowing in every direction, a silver steeple and gold steeple bells ringing golden songs. Here are warmth and dew, flowers unfold, sleepy eyes open, bird songs, kitchen songs, shop songs, all resound, recurring themes. The steeple blares its grand grace as calmly as a cooing dove. Another kind day is born and grows. Morning turns to afternoon. Afternoon. The people, animals, fields, and woods share a natural rhythm. The steeple stands like a shepherd above the shops, cottages, fields, woods, and all the busy life they house. Evening. peoplehood and peace. And the evening weaved the winsome villagers together. They all enjoy fruitful, tightly woven bonds. Their hall's doors stand as widely and obviously open as each villager's heart. Their hall's windows are stained with visions of salvation and hallowed hosts, all arrayed in celestial colors. Each vision illuminates love's ideals, like an evening sky where a crimson sun sprinkles rays on violet cirrus clouds, a silver steeple, and gold steeple bells. Night brings streams splashing, crickets creaking, and owls hooting. They create a nocturne that lulls the valley to sleep. It is as soothing as a herald angel's song. And that was published in Bard's Annual 2015. Tonight in Orange County, New York, cool vapors come and fill the field. Short daylight's long dead. The thin moon smiles on this year's yield, rising its bright red. I walk below the near hilltop, listening to owls. I'm soon before this autumn's crop. Wheat greets me, it bows. Beyond the wheat's an old grist mill with a well-worn fence. A friend's farm freckles the next hill. Breezes bring brash scents. Washed weeds wave from the pond nearby. Wings splash wildly, geese. Large stars stare through the cloudless sky. I bathe in this peace. And that was published in the Lyric 2017. And this will be the last one because I had those two longer ones. And this actually is a song lyric that I wrote back in 1978 when my late wife and I started dating. I'm not dreaming. I often have this vivid dream of a woman I've never seen, who, understanding me, can so amazingly turn my gray winter moods to green. She takes me in her arms, and soon my heart's as light as a balloon. She brightens my sad days with her exciting ways of shining like the sun at noon. And then she knocks at my front door. My bare feet land back on the floor. She keeps surprising me by being reality. No, I'm not dreaming anymore. She walks in with a smile so warm that even if lost in a storm, I soon can take control. I'm soon out of the cold. The clouds all melt, a new day's born. And when she knocks at my front door, my bare feet land back on the floor. She keeps surprising me by being reality. No, I'm not dreaming anymore. Okay, I think that's the time limit that I have. Thank you. Thank you.
That was wonderful, thank you. Let's hear it again for her.
Thank you.
Okay, that's just the beginning. Next, we have Lillie B. Crafter. She earned a BS in Architectural Engineering, South Carolina State College, and enhancement credits from Tuskegee Institute. She grew up in Jim Crow South and came north during the Great Migration. Lillie resides in Middle Island, New York. She's been writing poetry for years and has presented at many local events. Her great love for nature, her appreciation for everything that breathes, and her interest in her ancestral history all capture her thoughts. And with pen and pencil, she writes. Lillie B. Crowder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? I've been told that my voice does not project, so that's why I asked. I want to thank Chip and Maggie for this wonderful opportunity, and Maggie, most especially, for the pacifier. If at first you don't succeed with this writing, try and try again. Thank you. In honor of Black History Month, I wanted to give credit to a person of yore, which some of you may or may not have heard of. It's an ode. Azie Taylor Morton was her name. Born in Texas in a small town named Dale. Raised by maternal grandparents as a youth. Her mother was born both deaf and mute. With no high school in her hometown, during Jim Crow years, she attended the Texas Blind Deaf Orphan School instead. Her brilliance was beginning to surface by the age of 16. She was an honor graduate at an all-Black Texas university. Unique first would be hers. She would invariably make history. A trailblazer, she became a commissioner in labor and industry, and President John F. Kennedy's commissioner of equal opportunity. Appointed as treasurer by Jimmy Carter to the US Treasury, her name became the first African-American woman to appear on US currency. Azie Taylor Morton's tenure from 1977 through 1981 was with credibility. So that she signed paper money as US Treasurer will not fade into obscurity. African Americans might acquire some of her signed bills, a unique opportunity to preserve rare replicas depicting a successful Black woman in financial history. And today I do have a photograph of her bills that she signed. She is the only African American ever in history to sign dollar bill. And so I come from the South, of course, and this tells about my visit back home. I stood on the shore at Myrtle Beach to behold the splendor of the sea. I assessed the spirit of this most awesome force as it howled, "Come hither to me." Of this breathtaking wonder, I accepted its supremacy over me, overwhelmed by its magnitude and its volume. I closed my eyes in respect to acknowledge the resplendence of its creation and reflect on the era when this Palmetto Beach, State Beach was not available to me, this was the era of Jim Crow. Next, I'll read a poem, maybe two, and you might discern where my first love lies. In nature. It's called After the Storm Abates. When rambunctious breakers send foamy white waves, rushing over rocks against seawalls, tide recede after visiting a shore, exposing seaweeds from afar. The aftercalm whispers, nature's at peace. Come explore the magical deep, where mysteries abide in the vast underneath, where fury loiters and entices one to be, where echoes warn, flee, and I acquiesce. So I'll get away from the waters for a while. Okay. I am always aware of that which surrounds me, and I'm always grateful for that which I have and others don't. And so this is the poem titled Alone on the Street. I sit here alone on the side of the road, watching people come and go, honking horns from passing cars. To folks on the bus, I say, hello. I'm not sure how long it's been since this bench has been my home. I'm not sure of the last time I've had a place inside and warm. Every day at dawn, when the sun comes up, I assess my situation and check my station and get ready for the next sundown into night. All day long, people come and go, but I don't see anyone I know. When I want to eat and stay street neat, my filling station is just across the street. I sit and think of family and friends and wonder if they ever think of me. Only in my daydream do I find comfort, summer, winter, and fall and spring. So as I sit here alone all day long and wonder where I went wrong, I have hopes that someone might see that I'm only in need of an opportunity. This one, sometimes I get a little off center. It's called Beyond the Yonder. I'm not so sure where I got that title from. At a distance beyond the yonder, around the time of forever, I traveled to there as I slept, and when I awakened, nothing was left. Incredible it does appear, my journey which led to nowhere. The night light wasn't the moon, and no grounds of the sky was there. And so I pondered how in such a place I came to be. I didn't walk, drive, or fly, and yet I arrived safely. With clarity, I could not recall all that my dream conveyed. I wish I could have kept that which came to me as I slept. With my eyes open wide, all mysteries gone, I realized that unconsciously during my sleep, myself was protected from the deep. The omen eludes my rationale, but seems in sync with all of me. Reality and fancy dance together. The absurdities rescues my sanity. This one is called, let me know if I'm going to the time.
Good.
Okay, all right. I guess you would let me know, right? Yes. Okay. This one is called Determined I Was to Be on Time. I hastened my steps toward my destination, determined I was to arrive on time. I kept on walking and talking too, determined I was to arrive on time. My right turn was abrupt, and so was my left. As I kept on walking, determined I was to arrive on time. I paused at the corner of the very next street when it occurred to me that I hadn't thought about where I was going and at what time I was supposed to be there. This one is, I'm sorry, this heavy weight on that, okay? Now, this is called Why I Write. I'm still trying to write. Okay. I write when the time is right, when my thoughts take on syllables and verbs and now connect. I find paper and pen and I write. I hear, I see, I create a scene, a conversation, a performance, act one, act two, and I write. I promise myself never to be without pen and paper or to be too timid about that which creeps into my thoughts, which might render me out of range by someone, some people. And I write, my energy flows perpetually. I am overjoyed that I see and sense and feel a non-religious spirit that I cannot describe to anyone. I know that as I continue to write, I will find the perfect writer's way from my perspective. Okay, this one, coming from the South, this is a little Gullah Geechee. I don't know if any of you heard of that. Okay, so I could use proper English or I can use Gullah Geechee. I can say I ain't or I don't, okay? I'm not done yet. There's too much left. That's not right. Got the energy to stay in and fight, to hold on to the gains my kin fought to obtain enduring slavery. Some survived, too many died. The legacy is they had the will to survive. Never to forget the scars on Peter Gordon's back or compare Frederick Douglass escaping such attacks. Descendants must ensure no stories are left untold so that our youth will know truth about their ancestors of old. Okay, Garabici? All right, okay. I ain't done yet. And when I'm asked why I bother, I say, I ain't done yet. I'm going to keep on talking till my ancestors' voices are heard. I'm going to keep on walking till I get to where my ancestors were going. I'm going to keep on working till the job that keeps to me is done. I'm going to keep on running till I'm forced to slow my pace. I'm going to keep on driving till my tank is out of gas. I'm going to stay on the battlefield till I can't stay anymore. Can't drop the ball till there's equal justice for all.
Lily, that was delightful. Let's hear it again for Lily the Crowd. Okay, what an afternoon of poetry we're having. Oh my goodness. Our next and last feature of the afternoon is Christina M. Rao, the yoga poet. She serves as poet in residence at Oceanside Library and hosts creative chats with Baka and other arts and poetry events. JCC Mid-Island Wide Poetry Series and Sunday Fun Day Book Club among them. She's widely published. Her latest poetry publication, How We Make Amends, takes a jaunt through nature from forest to sea, Christina is touring the island and beyond to feature with her new book. And we are pleased that Poetry Street is hosting her. When not writing, Christine is leading yoga or watching Game Show Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Christina Rock.
That should be good. We're about the same age.
Yeah.
We're great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I think most of you know me. If you don't know me, I'm Christina. Thank you for coming. I'm going to start with a poem that's not mine, but by one of my favorite poets, Tracy K. Smith. If you don't know her, she was poet laureate for a time, and I'm in the middle of reading her memoir, which is amazing. Okay, so this is called When some people talk about money, they speak as if it were a mysterious lover who went out to buy milk and never came back. And it makes me nostalgic for the years I lived on coffee and bread, hungry all the time, walking to work on payday like a woman journeying for water from a village without a well, then living 1 or 2 nights like everyone else on roast chicken and red wine. So if you haven't read her, so I'm going to read some new stuff and then some old stuff, but oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah. But if you've never heard my stuff, it's all new stuff. This one comes with a prize. The Poison Game. Where is your sadness? A chalice sipped dry means all the poison will prevail for yourself or someone similar to your resentment defied, and all that jazzed up accoutrement attuned in, turned on its ankle. Really, it's about royalty, clearly, or loyalty. The two close enough to mean the same interchange as Clark Kent, a tornado in a phone booth whipping open the accordion glass, revealing tighter clothing, perfect sight. All the same, it moves, Galileo insisted, correctly, being led out of the courtroom found guilty of sciencing. It's all atrocious, the truth and the proof, the incipient, syncopated onion layers moving under a microscope. The atoms never stop. For a prize from the grab bag, Clark Kent has another name. Who does he turn into that phone booth? Superman. Yeah, well, a lot of you got it, so this is what we're gonna do. No, congratulations. I'm just gonna pass around the grab bag, and if you got it, Scout's honor, you grab something. And if you didn't get it right, you can grab something anyway, it's fine. So just pass it around, whatever you want, it's fine. It's the game of poetry. Okay. So just pass it, it's fine, grab whatever you get. This is another superhero poem. This is based on Dara Birnbaum's Technological Transformation Wonder Woman 1978 to 80. It's an art installation, it's a video art piece that I saw at the Whitney, but it's been around and you can also see it on YouTube. This is Woman on a Loop. Explosive fire billows, an alarm screams. Diana Prince appears. Smart silk blouse, plastic work ID clipped to a belt, tailored brown slacks, ponytail tight, arms outspread, blue eyes wide, black clutch in hand. She stands next to what could be a factory up on a hill of boulders, and she spins. A bright white glowing circle blasts out. This occurs a few times in succession, exactly the same. Then it's not the same. Diana of Themyscira appears where Ms. Prince stood. A gold crown holds back a brunette mane, a bodysuit emblazoned gold, red on top, blue below. The boots show when she takes off through trees. The blaring alarm shifts to a 70s groove. She settles in the shade of a grove. She spins, and she spins, and she spins, and she's in a hall of mirrors. She pulls off a cuff, drags it along a reflective glass wall. She's wearing all black, hair held back. It's Diana Prince. She spins and she spins. She's Diana. She's Wonder Woman. She's Diana. She's Wonder Woman. She's Diana. She's Wonder Woman. Back to the bright bodysuit and boots. Through a looking glass, she's in an office hallway and runs into a guy named Dale. Then they're in a garage and there's gunfire, and she deflects all the bullets with quick forearm flicks in succession. Outside again, she runs across a dry field. And she spins into the shady grove under trees. Another explosion, or the same one as before, and another or the same, and another or the same, exploding, alarming, immediately cut to blue screen, white letter scroll. I am Wonder Woman. Drumbeat background 70s syncopation. Shake thou wonder maker, crooning woman, fade to black. How are we doing with the prizes? Anybody get something good? Okay, good. Yeah, they're like nothing in there is really great, but you get stuff. Who knew? Okay. 2 gardens in Seattle. The voids seemed filled and the solids seemed empty. Tinder pile turns wood rot, no warmth except oil fueled. Metal seams rusted, giant curved. The ground stones, softly rounded pebbles, move every footfall. Metal straightens, angles, curves. Again, now you see it, now you don't. Like the big black boxes inside the White Room in New York City, while outside the White Room, letters, postcards, correspondence pressed between glass like lay flowers stuck between magnetic pages. Dodecahedron axis equals clouds rolling in here, but not over there. Tea and coffee uphill on cherry, recess, respite, spot, drip, dry. If you look east, where sun rises, you will see the full moon hovering at home. The heart becomes filled, and the hearth empty still. So yeah, I've been on a mini book tour. This is How We Make Amends. The cover is artwork by a Canadian artist named Tanya Fenkel, and she's got some beautiful, beautiful work. Yeah. So if you look her up, you can see work like this. She also does figures, like people figures. I don't know what's called. I'm not an artist, but she does pretty stuff. Pretty stuff. Pretty stuff. So I'm gonna read a few from here. And this is about nature. I'm the worst person to go hiking with. I don't know where I'm going. I get lost always. And I wear a backpack that is like twice my weight. And just in case of anything, like it's got like stuff in it just in case. But I still go out. I persist. Nature doesn't try. Herons meet at the harbor. High tide, look to trees where they wait to wade. Low tide invites them. Long stick legs plant into the bed. Their underbellies glide along sparkling surface. Long necks curve up, then down. Slow, then faster. Wings span out. They lift up. They settle. 10 in a row. Standing, being, there, now. I wrote that during, I did a residency at Cedarmere, the birthplace of William Cullen Bryant, and there's a beautiful, beautiful harbor out behind the mansion. And it gets so magical there, it really does. And they have a mill that they just put a wheel on. It's a big wheel, new wheel, mill is almost working. They got big trees. It's a little bit of everything. So go visit if you haven't been there. This is the title poem, How We Make Amends. Hands in dirt blacken. Fresh soil deep under nails burrows into cracks. Fresh soil for planting, but planting season has passed. Now is the time to remain dormant under unsteady sky. Even so, a want to make anew relights a flame, more brilliant, an aberration in the cycle. We do our best to outrun, outshine, skip a step around, rain bogging down, ice solidifying over first with no time to adjust. Nature wins. We hibernate, we wait. That's how we heal, how we find hope. And then if the hope we have turns into less, we dig our hands in deep, allow scrapes, scrounge in roots, we start again. I've got one more for you. Also from this book. This is called Fog. When the fog burns off in the dark, sight still isn't clear. You need the light to see. You need the clarity. But also, you need the heat and the sun to burn. And also, you need the fog, a break to take out of the shimmer into the unsafe place, shivering in a blind cold, returning from sight and sound, to feel, to touch. So when the fog burns off, you keep relearning to love yourself. Thank you for listening.
Maybe you want to give him a special. It's your pride.
Oh, a special.
Maggie, excuse me, Maggie.
Yeah,
We have a request from a Carol Finkel for the poet to give us the name of the illustrator again.
oh,
Tanya Fenkel,
Can she spell the last name?
Fenkel.
Thank you.
all right. Was that amazing? Or and let's hear it for our features. What all right, before we move on to the open mic, I neglected my Zoom people. If you want to be part of the community poem, just send something to Claire in chat and she will make sure that I get those lines. Okay, we're gonna move on to the open mic. I'm going to turn it over to Chip Williford.
Thank you, Maggie, and thank you to all of our features. Oh man, it's so good to see you all. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much. So we're going to start an open mic. The rule is have one poem under 3 minutes. Keep it short. No intro is needed unless it's really needed. But normally not. So we're going to start the open mic on Zoom land, and we're going to ask Pamela Jones, the ambassador of peace, to please start us off on Zoom land with the open mic. Pamela Jones, the ambassador of peace.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I am graced with your reception. I am a cousin of Carl Stokes, who was the first Black mayor in Cleveland, Ohio. During the time just before, or probably almost right when he became mayor, I was taken from a predominantly Black school, put in an all-white school, and was the only Black child in my classroom. While in that classroom, I had come to a point where I was very much abused. And it's important to me to let my classmates know, though I don't know where they are, that I don't hate them. I never hated them. And I hope to someday be able to talk with them in person. The poem is, we were all just children. You saw me beaten, you heard me cry, but I don't hate you because you're white. Don't know how many blows I took, and still don't know if you ever shook. We were all children, just 7 years of age. We're all just children. in the second or third grade. Throughout the years when our eyes met, I have no doubt none could forget. Passing in hallways, not a spoken word. Could you ever forget my screams you heard? Though it has been at least 58 years, I doubt you forgot my screams and tears. We were just children, innocent little beings. What did you think when you better understood things? I was the only one black. All of you were white. I never hated you. That wouldn't be right. Over the many years, I've wondered how you all are. 58 years ago to me doesn't seem that far. I hope to see you and talk to you all one day. I hope you're all right. I'm doing okay. I wish I could talk to you and give comfort some way. We were just children. For us all, I pray. Amen. I was blessed twice. First, because when the beating started, I didn't feel hate. God protected my soul and my heart. Secondly, I was unable to tell about what happened. I thank God for that because back then we had Rosa Parks, we had Dr. King, we had Malcolm X, the children that were blown up, etc. And had I been able to tell while the riots had slowed down, no doubt it would have rekindled. I thank you all for your gracious reception of me, and I hope at some point to be able to talk in person to the classmates. Thank you, and God bless you all.
God bless you also. And that's your IP, Pamela Jones. Thank you so much. Claire, who else do we have on Zoom land waiting to read?
Okay, I hope I won't butcher her name. Signing up on the website was Finn Bell from the Bay Area. It's her first time here, I believe, or in a while.
It is my first time, yes, and you pronounced it perfectly. Thank you. Should I start now? I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say it was a blessing to hear the three features today. I feel very blessed and nourished with your poetry. So my one poem is titled Almonds. In the dream, she said softly, I don't know what that is. Do you love me today? Where should I look? In the alcove, the people stir. Beneath plaster, they mouth the same words that they hear, patiently echoed back to them when they press cheeks to cool damp walls. Their ears have mossed over. They listen only to what they can bear to hold. And I'm here and here and here. All the rooms know my name, hang my blouses in their sunken treasure closets. The mirrors say hello, but only when they are facing you. They have hands in reverse of mine, in reverse of time, and speak amongst themselves behind palms about me. In twist, trunk, witches rhyme, they hum. There's a girl who is dancing. She pirouettes in bright crimson shoes. She is twirling herself merrily to her grave. They cannot recall the last line. There is a lone man holding up the cellar ceiling, drinking up the aged wine at his leisure by cask and row. We stay still, we stay unnoticed, and can feel his thumb flick at fragrant corks like they were stale air, caress bottles into becoming tender young bodies. We make playtime of sealing him in brick by brick, a mud pie makeshift tomb. He will never come calling again, tapping at our bedroom door, but sometimes errant night terrors, he slips under the bed, steals under the covers. Darling, hush. My organs float in an old jam jar. I line them up tidy. On the cheery kitchen counter, I feed each one full round almond a day to keep them gorged to buy their silence. The moon tries to creep in through the cracks made wide in the window pane by the sun leaving home. She bathes the pale figurines in rotation, freezes their faces in perpetual astonishment, leaves a trail of moon dust for us to find in the morning. I awaken at noon to find the jam jars agitated, the Oregons regurgitated upon the blue earthen gray floor. The almonds have rotted into vinegar-soaked stones, waiting to be devoured by the jovial flushed man below ground. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Claire, who else do we have? We take one more from Zoom land and then we're coming here to the Riverhead Library.
Let me unmute. Mr. James Horn is next on our list, and I'm not sure if it's his first time here or not.
Okay, let's hear from James.
Okay, this is my good golf poem here. It said, be a better putter. What's with naughty iron that is a 9, which some say has become benign? That ball seems slow as molasses, did need to take a few more classes. From a whole golf course would be cut, had played never learning how to putt. Should see scratchy, terrible scar that was received for my making par. Received setback and a major mishap. Ball again did end up in a sand trap and occurred a complete catastrophe. Drove my ball from tee into a tree. To avoid all trash along with the clutter, wanted to try and buy a better putter. From terrible putts, ended up insane. On course, my golf bag does remain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh boy, okay. So for all of you who all heard it, my name is Steve. I'm a writer, I'm a poet, been coming here for a while. Thank you. So this is part of a collection called Linger. This is called A Bag of Bones. I am but a bag of bones, a spirit bottled in the wet tissue of humanity. I am a man shaped, trident, not in the Holy Trinity, but in marked value, the love of others, not self, and my own sovereignty. Excuse me, can I just change my glasses? I'm so sorry. It's a new thing for me, glasses. Age is a new thing for me, actually. Quite intriguing. I'm sorry, let me start once again, I apologize. A bag of bones, I am but a bag of bones, a spirit bottled in the wet tissue of humanity. I am a man shaped, trident, not in Holy Trinity, but in marked value, the love of others, not self, and my own sovereignty. One scarred pile upon the next, vestiges of wonder, calloused, divine, encased in the tribute to all that I have claimed or that has claimed me. I feel too much, as hardened as an old man can be. I still stand, erect to the prose and words that fall together in my written expression. Lovers and friends, mentors and those who wanted me dead, the people I have harmed, the angels that shield me from the final fall. Their wings a constant reminder of the acknowledgement of their existence. They have surrounded my heart each time I have failed. I've mounted and saddled them and the devil, riding on the back of their winged appendages, held safe from my fall back to earth, until, open and wounded, I collapsed upon myself, burnt and bruised. A pile of wreckage, of my own deeds and promises. But I have run away from your torturous truth, and I have never escaped your pull. You are my hope, my everything. You are love. And the spirit of you pushes the pen in my hand, that I have no otherwise but to bleed poetry from the folds of my heart. That was kind of a surprise to stand up and read, so. Oh yeah, you did great. Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate you being here. Vinny Colon, he is great guy, excellent poet, and you see what I'm talking about, Vinny Colon.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Chip. I really appreciate that. And hello to everybody out there in Zoom land. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for the features. Wonderful. I'm just gonna.
Go ahead.
Okay, bring it closer.
Closer. You got it.
All right, here we go. Through the prism sublime. When we pause and peer through the prism sublime, what do we see? What do we find in the prisons of our mind? When we stop to look at black and white, wrong and right, is it as clear as an open space, this problem that we have with race and rights? And the riots lead to wars and death, gasping for another breath. Can we occupy the same place? Or will we end the human race this time? When I look at you, I see myself through the prism of my mind. When I look at you upon myself, framed in the present perfect time, I know you will fight for what is right and what we fail to write. It is clear as an open window pane. I feel your pain and your fright. When you stop and look at white and black, don't turn back. Do what's right. As I write this, I know that more wars of words will add to the fight. And the riots lead to wars and death, gasping for another breath. Can we occupy the same place? Or will we end the human race this time? When I look at you, I see myself through the prism in my mind. When I look at you upon my shelf, framed in the present perfect time. When we pause and peer through the prism sublime, what do we see? What do we find in the prisons of our mind? When we stop to look at black and white, wrong and right, is it as clear as an open space, this problem that we have with race and rights? And the riots lead to wars and death, gasping for another breath. Can we occupy the same place, or will we end the human race this time? When I look at you, I see myself through the prism in my mind. When I look at you upon my shelf, framed in the present perfect time. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. And now I'm gonna ask Bill Batcher to please make his way up. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Batcher is one of our fathers of poetry. He's such a thing, you know, he's a wonderful man. And he lives way out east. Way out north. Bill Batcher, let's give him a hand.
Now for something entirely different. I have a pocket in my jacket. I don't know what it's for. It's on the sleeve, so reaching it is something of a chore. I've never known a single guy to use a pocket watch. Yet a pocket for it's in my jeans, 8 inches from the crotch. Is there a pocket mafia threatening the throat of any rebel fashionistas who've not met their pocket quota? A friend of mine sent me an explanation, but much to my chagrin, I can't recollect what pocket I stuck the letter in.
Wow, that Bill Batcher is something else. So Claire, who do you have on Zoom land? Who's your next 3 people on Zoom land? We're gonna call them one. Go ahead.
Right. We'll start with Hiram LaRue, if I didn't butcher that, followed by Kazi Kaz or Cozy Kaz, and then Susan Dingle, and I know that's the right pronunciation.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Hiram from Maryland. And like everyone else, I want to thank Chip and Maggie and Claire for creating the Poetry Street where we're gathering today. And shout out to Lillie, Herb, and Christina for sharing their showcase poetry. The poem I'd like to share is all about looking back in awe of memory and forgetfulness. It first appeared in a magazine called Flat Ink Poetry Journal. It's titled Smoky Arms. Lately, I've been amazed by my father's memory as I remember him. He could recall as brightly as the skins of apples how his father was certain but quiet. My father also knew by heart what the snow looked like on those very steps where he first spied my mother. And he had an uncanny way as well of remembering where the smallest creeks cross in West Virginia. More and more, it's as if my father is sitting on the edge of a bed in boxers, or is stoking a nearby fire, telling stories. More and more, I think of him as very sure, like me, of people even before he ever met them. And of course, he was squirrely-eyed about anyone in power. In fact, as I think back, it's almost as if my father has been lifted up in the chilly air by some smoky arms as a favor. That's all to say that there's nothing he wouldn't have done for bright, foggy mornings like this, ones that start heading out, but then have to turn around on a damn dime to go all the way back home for whatever it was that was forgotten. Thanks, Claire.
Hey, Hiram, before we leave, I need you to talk about Feed the Children campaign and what you're doing.
Chip, I think you asked about Poetry X Hunger. Certainly,
Yes.
yeah. It's an initiative to try to bring all poets, including anyone here in the Zoom room or in person, to the anti-hunger cause. So I'll put in the chat box the submission window for submitting to Poetry X Hunger. If you have a poem, either already written or would like to write a poem about empty stomach hunger, please plan or think about submitting it. Thanks so much, Chip, for the opportunity to share.
Awesome. Okay, Claire, who's next?
Now we come to Cozy Kaz. If I can ask him to unmute.
Hello. My name is Kazi Kaz. How is everybody doing? This is my first time here. Thank you for this space. I'll get right into it so I won't waste time. I would like to recite my ABCs for y'all. My alphabetically bestowed consciousness. Always assessed allegorically adorable anecdotes articulately addressing any assumingly amended addendums and altered agendas. Anymore, ambivalently attacking with an antiquated arsenal of amplified animosity aptly and ably applied to abjectly ailing allies. Affably, I applaud the admirably aspiring and affectionately alienable actions autonomously apparent anytime anyone astutely attempts to adaptively acclimate to acutely and abusively affected atmospheres, ambiances, auras, and amicabilities. I'm absolutely astounded and amazingly astonished by how aggressively adamant and abhorrently averse to acknowledging actual analytically assessed affirmations as so many avid absolution alienating addicts so absurdly and acrimoniously are. Aimless ambiguity and ardent arbitrariness anonymously assist in adding augmented amounts of agonizingly avowed appropriations to the already arduously arrested and abominably aching aftermath of this anthropically aimed artificial attack. Actually, it's abysmally anxietal, also apprehensively and appallingly alarming, because braggingly boastful bureaucratic bastards brashly bargain like bird-brained, blundering, buffoonic bozos, bodaciously bringing ball-busting bulldozers, blindly bullying, bereavingly bleeding, and burden-bred beasts. But I bravely breathe to briefly benefit from the blankly benign benevolence bequeathed to and bestowed upon us. Before becoming brazenly bitter, become beneficently better. Build a broader base, brightly broadening our beyond bountifully boundless and bloomingly beautiful babies' bests. Because I've been backbreakingly busy, broadly breaking bales of bodega bought bread and barrels of briskly brewed beer, bourbon, and brandy. Booze. Also, continuously concentrate on continually clandestine congregations, centrally centered on corruptly concealed collusions, creatively culminating into criminally cruel and caustically cancerous calamities. Because corrosively capricious communists chronically crave crucially conflicting conditions, crassly creating cosmically chaotic camps, coercingly constricting classically classy cowboys, and contemptuously convicting candidly compassionate compadres. Courageously combine the cautiously commingling classes, causing a credibly clear cleansing and conscientious consciousness, consequently catering to a culturally comprehensive culmination commonly classified as a community. Thank you.
I could not have read that.
And up next, we have Susan Dingle.
That was awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
You get to follow that, Sue.
That's not fair. This is
I'm
not
sorry.
fair, you guys. Okay, just saying, not fair. But congratulations on all that alphabetization. It's like
Thank you, thank
awesome
you.
alphabetization. And thank you for our wonderful features today and for Poetry Street. I just want you to know that there is on the 4th Wednesday of the month in Camas, Washington, at the Camas Library, Poetry Street Pacific Northwest, Poetry Street PNW. It exists, but we don't have Zoom, so you'll just have to come out. I hope you will. This is a poem called In the Rooms. The dirt brown rug, gray in places, soaks up spills. That rug, old as earth, that old coffee, watery, lukewarm, in a glass pot someone pours into mugs around a table made of wood, like a moss-covered rock in a desperate sea, a piece of earth, its loam of day-old baked goods, framed photographs, faces of people who used to be here, displayed at the head of the table, racks of pamphlets printed decades ago, the newly painted pale wall with an old schedule hand-lettered on cardboard, and copies of signs printed in red, that medieval font whose capital letters make every slogan sound like a command, those same tacky slogans everywhere you go, those unfurled shades of steps and traditions like moss-covered rocks everywhere you go. In Midtown Manhattan, in a dark basement called the Mustard Seed, a young woman who lost everything counts days, dirty linoleum beneath her feet, bars on the windows, staring at the shades, the words so strange. One day at a time, where each day is new. I grow old, and now I find everything. A mossy rock on the other side of the country, in this room, the color of hope, an evergreen hillside, where a young woman announces she has 30 days, and everyone applauds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan, for that. Susan is he's one of our founders of Forestry. Also, we have Bobby Brown here in the house, who's the other founder of Forestry. He's not going to read right now. He is going to read right now. Oh, awesome. So let's bring him up. Ladies and gentlemen, our other founder, Mr. Bobby Brown, the man of the year in Riverhead, Long Island. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Brown. I love this man. He's my mentor.
This is my, you heard it before, Fake the Pleasure. It's my Black history poem. It's written and dedicated to that endangered species, the African-American male, who has given his life in wars for this land in disproportionate numbers, who is incarcerated in the prisons of this land in disproportionate numbers, and who is imprisoned in his mind by illegal controlled substances in this land in disproportionate numbers, allegedly. It's entitled, It's Time. It's time. The time for revenge and blame is long past. Let's look to the future anew. God has led us safely thus far. Now it's time to do our just due. It's time for my young brothers to stand tall with pride and grace and be a living hero to some small child of this proud race. At times, standing tall can be a problem. When the fashion plate decrees, it's cool to shuffle with your hands in your pockets and your pants down to your knees. It's time for somebody's daddy to take that child in hand and explain that the teenage part of life is basic training to being a man. It's time to get educated. Put away your Xbox, pick up a book, and then go outside and practice your dribble and your running fadeaway hook. I know we're athletically inclined, fine-tuned when properly trained, but those muscles will fade like a summer sun, so you better fine-tune your brain. It's time, my brother, to sit back and take stock of the precious gems and jewels and such we have in our jewelry box. I'm not talking about rubies or diamonds, pearls or precious others. I'm talking wives, sisters, daughters, nieces, girlfriends, and most of all, our mothers. They are the backbone of this heritage, worth more than a king's ransom in coins. And we, male gender of this race, are mere droppings from their loins. It's time to tell the media, I am not the person that they portray. From digging ditches to chairman of the board, I work each and every day. It's time to tell America we're not all rapists, hoodlums, and thugs. We're not all wife and child abusers, and we're not all pushing drugs. Question. Billions are made from that illegal trade, a fact well understood. But tell me, are there any millionaire dealers in your neighborhood? It's time to look to the future, for the future lies ahead. Only look back to check your references or to pay homage to your dead. It's time for love, my brother. For love, my brother, it's time. Love, love, everlasting love. Love of me and love of mine. It's time, it's time.
It's time. Black History Month. Yes. Thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you all. Okay. Susan Cameron is our next poet, and as she makes her way up, I'm going to do a little haiku. Call in a riptide. Come on up, Susan. Call in a riptide, carrying full bags of tears. Surrender it all. Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Cameron.
Well, it's always amazing to come up here after all these acts that are hard to follow. And maybe what I have today will say what I feel. Welcome to Poetry Street. Welcome to Poetry Street, the room without a roof, where every voice is heard, even mine. I am surrounded by literary geniuses who bear accolades of honors and achievements. I listened, captivated. An imposing halo of confidence envelops them. Prolific words of artistic creativity abound in plenitude. And we certainly heard that from that ABC guy, didn't we? And then there is me. Me who doesn't know an Emily Dickinson from an Emily Post, who is ignorant to the formalities of this elite literary world, with its mystifying set of rules and cryptic language. Me who doesn't know the difference from a verse or a stanza, a sonnet from a nonet, a seplet from a couplet, a loop poem from a chain poem. Puzzling, perplexing, bewildering. The confounding mystery ensues. Baffling metrical patterns in meters, manometers, octometers, pentameters, and let's dare not forget an anapest. And then there's me, who doesn't know if what I have written is a poem or prose. Who knows? What I do know is on the last Saturday of every month, I humbly or foolishly stand at the podium in front of the published, authentic, accomplished, award-winning lyric magicians, reading words in giant font, better to see, my dear, and prattle on with some amateurish gibberish. And I come back again on the last Saturday of the month to Poetry Street, the room without a roof, where every voice is heard, even mine.
Poetry Street is now immortalized in a poem. Thank you, Susan. You rock. You rock. Oh, wow. I rock so much, and I forgot the last person. Next person is Janet O'Hara. Well, we're glad to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, Janet O'Hara.
Thank you, Chip. And on behalf of the library, I feel so privileged and so honored because I am on the Board of Trustees and we're so happy that you're all here. I have just a little ditty that I wrote in April of 2020. So we know when that was, okay? To sort of entertain myself. And anybody who lives on Long Island is very much aware of ponds and the rivers and the water and what is on those rivers and ponds. Canadian geese. And I lived for 7 years on Merritt's Pond. So we had the geese coming and going. They generally come in September and leave in February. So I wrote this in April. Okay, it's called Migration Dilemma. It's time for them to move on, but wait, there's still a few geese left on the pond who didn't get the memo. Their brethren have flown off to northern climes as expected. Will these few be the late ones? You know the type. They sink into the meeting with eyes averted. They carefully ease themselves into a chair in the back of the room, hoping to go unnoticed. They pretend to know what's going on. I'm sure they have a good excuse. What part of nature dictates this lack of instinct? Are these birds safeguarding the pond from some hostile takeover? Are they heroes in disguise? Be assured there's no official explanation. Any further inquiries should be directed to HR. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The hardest person in poetry world is J.R. Turret. And if you don't believe me, just read her bio. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Turret.
Thank you, Chip. Ah, wow. What a day. What a poetry day. Thank you, Herb. Thank you, Lillie. Thank you, Christina. And of course, Claire, Maggie, oh, and Chip. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm working on my new manuscript called 24 Shades of Purple. So I'm giving some of these an airing.
And all the men in your background.
That's the color. In my purple bag. Oh, this is from a 24-hour poetry marathon. This is hour 11. In my purple bag. A double zip wallet in plum perfect. A lilac credit card case that actually holds gift cards. 4 purple Energel pens with aubergine ink. 1 Sharpie marker in orchid. 1 in magenta. 2 ballpoint pens I hate, but keep just in case. A red beaded leather pouch that holds my amethyst rosary beads. A small purple journal with a dog asking, "Is it time to play? How about now?" An amethyst carbuncle with a pewter angel, a house key with a purple plastic sleeve, my truck key, big and black and lost in the abyss of stuff. 1 pack of tissues with lavender irises on it. Why is my bag so heavy? A clear plastic case with my purple marbled reading glasses wrapped in a wisteria cleaning cloth. A fabric pandemic mask that says, "Poet at Work." An old Home Depot receipt I wrote a few lines of a new poem on, but can't read it. Can't throw it away. A cluster of safety pins pinned together, several vinyl-coated paper clips in varying shades of purple. Band-Aids, purple. Where did I get those? My cell phone in the military-grade dark purple metal case. It weighs a ton. Dog Speak. My purple cover poetry book from last year's 24-hour poetry marathon, because you never know when you'll be called on, drugstore, doctor's office, laundromat, to read a poem or two. A pack of grape gum. Oh, that's why it's so heavy. Thank you.
Thank you, JR. Okay, Claire, who else do we have on Zoom?
We have 4 more, but we're going to start with Virginia Walker, followed by Ophelia Jimenez, if I didn't butcher that.
Great, thanks.
I guess you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, my poem is titled The Color of Paint. The Lexington Avenue line is red-footed. Crimson are the bases of steel supports, bulging like elephant feet out of place, holding walking sticks in a manor house. In the silence between the trains, far off, the blues, played by an unknown throat, whips the air in rising and falling notes as train wakes course the underground. In Arlington, heading into DC, caught in spring storm, I ask a dark face which bus, and he acts as our guide, jolly, until I mention the metropolis I know. I would not feel safe there now, he offers, and silences our smiles. I turn to friends, then back to him, but he has left the bus. I remember then the blood-dipped feet. Sorry about that phone.
Who's next, Claire? Oh, there you go.
We have Ophelia Jimenez.
Hi, greetings from Colorado. Today I'm offering a poem written when I used to reside in Oceanside, New York. Housekeeper. Every Every morning after a few bites of buttered toast and lots of coffee, she becomes obliging, capable of mending any divide, the one who glues fractured figurines rather than toss them into heaps of trash. Rain or shine, she's regarded as well-adjusted, the one who cannot get ill, the impartial being cleaning the mess left by others, the sucker for pleas, believer of promises, bamboozled by sweet nothings, the one standing by a door, waving goodbye.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to come back to the Riverhead Free Public Library and ask Barbara Ann Bracco to please come. Barbara was one of our features not too long ago. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Ann Bracco.
I can't get this now.
Thanks, Chip and Maggie and Claire and the wonderful features today. That's really something, isn't it? Herb and Lillie and Christina. So
I don't know where this
I'm
is.
going to do a kind of a true story of my own experience on Long Island in the mid-60s. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. This is entitled Sound of Reverse. We were progressive teens. We read James Baldwin's Another Country, every word. That line about enough venom to make 100 black-white babies, that was it, what everybody was afraid of. Sex, rape. But it was 1964, not 1864. We knew about Rosa Parks, Selma, Alabama, 3 civil rights workers murdered in Mississippi. He embraced the only black guy on our basketball team, Jerome. Especially my friend Iris. They liked each other, spoke every night on her pink princess phone in her pink bedroom. He lived on the fringe of town by the old brickworks. We swung by in my boyfriend's Ford Fairlane. The 4 of us got tight, went to places, out of the way places, away from prying eyes. Jerome's life was hard. Jump shots were easy. One night, an anonymous caller got Iris's father on the phone, gave him the lowdown. That was it. Out went the pink princess phone, out went the pink dust ruffle, grounded forever. I took peripheral fire from neighbors. I wrote essays in English class. Everybody knew about it, but they wanted things to go back to how they were. Before there was a black family in our town, nobody wanted to talk about it. Even the liberal teacher who moonlighted as a social worker in Brooklyn was mute after coming in one Monday with a black eye. Jerome just moved away. Every day after school, Iris's father would be there in his purple Plymouth Fury with the push-button tranny, silent in the same parking spot, waiting. We were too petrified to speak as we got in. The only sound as he backed out of the space was the deep, clicking sound of reverse.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. Luna Yabel is one of our mothers of Poetry Street, and she's here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Yabel. Nina's on episode number 3 of the film Poetry Street on the Road, and you can get that on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Yabel.
What a day. Wow. Wonderful poets. Beautiful. I'm really happy to be here. Been sick for weeks. And that's why I'm wearing the mask, is to protect you guys. Make sure you get the RSV vaccination. It's just horrible. Anyway, I could read a nice love poem or a depressing love poem. Whichever one you want. I don't know. What's
nice?
Nice. Okay. Yes, I have loved the moon, sister of night, who drifts like a child lost without light. When the moon and I were young, we rode above the mountains, slipped by the clouds, the jaws of cloud wolves into the lace of angels. We sailed black lakes below the streaming stars and galloped like 2 cowboys across the summer sky. We cruised through clouds of delight, dancers who thrashed about, hair on fire, fingers stretched and twisting beneath the firmament. They sighed and gambled with the winds, held the gold race of sun to their thighs. The moon and I waited in her tempo, hammered silver, our breath coming hard like a wind in a wind tunnel, eyes glazed with pleasure, like sailors remembering the land through sea swells. At dawn, they came to us and rocked us in their arms and spilled us into a sapphire sky, content as lambs. I will always dream of their rich perfumes, full breasts, round against my forehead. Yet it is the moon I love, who taught everything I know of loving. Now framed between the bamboo and the sash, a wedge of lime, she will always be a woman in her time.
Thank you so much, Nina, for that. Hey, Claire, we're going to go back to Zoom land and ask who we have now.
Okay, our final 3 poets are Gladys Henderson, Carol Finkel, and Melissa Longo.
Awesome. Let's do that in reverse order. Melissa Longo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Longo, and I have a poem. Hold on, gotta find it. Let's see. Where are you, poem? You're right here, and I had you ready. Okay, I found it. It is called Life or So We Thought. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Life or so we thought. A full moon can share and expose the love that you've had hidden. That is written in diaries of precarious ones and traumatized adults. They've held the thought of that maybe, just maybe, one day, more than a year, more than a decade, that we don't have to see a man walk free from sin. Chapters by chapters, lies upon lies, mealtimes, oh sweet mealtimes. And we still held hands saying grace. In the springtime, it rises up and rule the days, on and on. Lead away, please. Lead away. Please go. the nights quickening before the fairing times, but it feels colder as it does now, more so in the winter, and the warmth, and then warmth does come soon. And then so does and then doses in time like medicine for our symptoms. Thank you very much. My name is Melissa Longo.
Next up, Claire.
Now we go to Carol Finkel.
Okay, and I've entitled this No More. By the way, I enjoyed every single poem I've heard. It's such a lovely way to spend an afternoon. Okay, no more. No more trying to please my parents. No more wondering if I would meet the right person. No more waiting for the phone to ring. No more keeping a calendar so dates do not overlap. No more alarms at 5:30 a.m. for me to prepare for my day. No more lesson plans and papers to grade. No more worry about the traffic on the way to teaching. No more hoping that each student was reached. No more longing to start my family. No more wonder on how the embryo will mature. No more caring for an infant and getting almost no sleep. No more play dates and mommy and me. No more worry about the end of the maternity leave and who will be with my children. No more carpooling. No more touring colleges and hoping they make the right decisions. No more meeting their dates and hoping my children make the right choices. No more wondering what my grandchildren's lives will become. Now, in retirement, it's time just to enjoy my family and do all the activities that were too long postponed. Thank you.
And Kathy, did we miss you earlier? Had you signed up?
Do we have time? I guess we have a little time.
Yes, just go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, Maggie, Chip, Claire, this has been fantastic. I'm so glad I, made the time. Just a great venue. And that means thanks to Herb and Nellie and Christina. Thank you. I just want to point out before I read my poem that, we read and we see things and we write about ourselves and our childhoods, but sometimes another poet can be a muse. And I was at Tammy's reading with Pramila reading her poetry, and she wrote a poem called Bread, and I got inspired to write this. In Gaza. He sat there comfortably reading in his embroidered armchair, lamplight over his shoulder directed to his page. Knowing the turmoil out his door, buildings leveled, reduced to rubble, electric and water disrupted, was a distance away, far from his area, which housed hospital employees, professionals, members of the government, a university. Surely this was known or appreciated. Families extended to the third, sometimes fourth generation as children came into the world like a blessing, all sleeping, eating, praying together. His little girl came into his private spot, or so he thought it was, with feathers they had found on the beach to tickle him under his nose. They giggled and wiggled around him for attention. He placed his bookmark. Leaning forward, he spread his arms like a hawk, made a great roar, just missed capturing them again and again. Their laughter turned to two serious faces looking to him, into his eyes. They stood perfectly still. In the next second, they were gone, with the house, the embroidered chair, his book, his lamplight, him. He left this world like a blessing, not to live another second without them, not to live with only their memory, a wound never to heal.
Thank you, Kathy. And we'll now finish up with the wonderful Gladys Henderson, if I can find her on the screen, and here we go.
Great. Gladys is also one of our mothers of Fortune Street, and is also in the film Fortune Street on the Road. Gladys, if you could please unmute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. And once again, I believe that poetry is a form of prayer, and we've been all praying together, and we're all probably different faiths, but we've all been filled with the love and gladness of that companionship, and so thankful. I made a decision to change what I was going to read, only because I don't want you to be depressed, and I want us to be at a good place. But I do want to say to you, we have a long way to go. We ain't there yet, and every single person has to contribute in the way in which they can to advance civil rights in America, and that we really have civil rights in America and not just a token. So I'm not going to read my poem Lynching, which is really a very painful poem. And I'm gonna read a poem about holding anchor, which is my brother was 12 years my senior, and this is a prose poem about he and I getting sort of lost in the boat, and my brother having a lot of belief in his own abilities. Anyway, holding anchor. In that black 1,000-bed dreams, deep soprano sounds of the tide slapping the cheeks of the skiff, a foghorn savior just out of reach calling, believe, believe, summoning us to step out of the light's safety, make our way through the inlet without moon or stars, find our way home in total blindness, follow like disciples with only sound to guide our way. My brother, the captain, who wears his tightened chin and teeth like a life preserver, moves to the wheel, as though the wood itself had memory of the harbor, knew what he did not know. What does a younger sister understand who venerates even the wool shirt he wears in full summer? Does she ask if he knows the way home? Has he taken the coordinates to find our way? His 12 years senior allows none of that. I await his commands, make another pot of coffee, hope someone hears the gurgling of our engines in neutral. Anchored off, we swing an arc, fuel enough for now. Running lights hold us in the falsehood of artificial day. A full, delicious shine, bathing the fish that splash their soon-to-be lost lives in our buckets. And we have sandwiches of ham and cheese, lots of cold beer, wine. We are somewhere off Eaton's Neck, fog and night having come quickly. The excitement of fishing for fluke, almost willing to jump into our boat, intoxicating. And we are without chart of cove or home, adrift like children whose parents might someday recognize their talents, march them around town as the gifted ones who knew everything, but for now, we are not. And as always, my brother and I float the obscure darkness like the old familiar nightmare she is, anchored down until someone finds us, sees our strobe lights through the encircling black fog, or hears the diesels drinking away our fuel, the snap of beer tabs opening, our noisy ship to shore staticking news from sailors not lost at sea. But for us, we sit and wait for dawn or rescue, my earrings flashing in the spotlights, their vigilant veneer soothing the long night passage back to home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next we're gonna go back to the here to the Riverhead Library and ask Daniel Rogers to please come up and read.
I actually wrote a poem for a lady. She's not here today. She usually be here though. So I'm gonna let you have two poems I got. Just one poem? Yes. All right, so I'm gonna tell you the new one then. The new one goes, when I searched under the stars, I saw your face, so beautiful and serene. I could read your facial expression. It said, why is this boy looking at me? All I could do was grin as I finished my poetry in admiration of your beauty. A queen so ruly and a god king so truly.
You're not going to hear the next month. So please come back and the next person I'm going to ask to read is Bruce Pandelfo.
Thanks, y'all. You've all been wonderful. My name's Bruce. When I make music, go by All One. Here's some stuff I'm working on lately. I like night walks. Stroll the lonely streets beneath an Appaloosa chalkboard, glancing at that glaucoma pallid lunar encore. Massive moon. I tip my hat a loony, happy stupid, bonjour, and then have a lucid thought tour. Witching hour madness proves the map's a ruse, meander elusive paths that lose their contours. A phantom who's attracted to abandoned rooms and locked doors. I vanish, moody, managed muses tapped into my hard core, all for mustering some inner light that you can walk towards. Nighthawk, I shift, I drift. Sidewalks, I riff on daydreams on my oniric night shifts. Daybreak, no, day broke me. I'm here for my night fix. That doubloon moon looms like a buttered spotlight. Religion or ritual, it isn't simply a walk, right? A long night, a calm mind, combined and all's mine. I get to live when there's no one up. I've got to live like there are no one ups. No one ups, Pac-Manning through a township grid, a prowling wisp and howling winds, business signs like sirens singing, now come in, buzzing, sibilant, humming, lisping halogens. Now the cold blooms, cumulus plumed masks of breath, solitary sidewalks echo drum solos of my languid steps. I heard the train, a clunky chugging basilisk, trampling the vertebrae, reverberating rusty tracks it treks. Somnambulant, rambling, to manifest the manuscripts my ambling is channeling. Have a nip of whiskey from his flask if it's a tad too brisk. The twilight onyx canvas is tattooed with the constellated, candlelit dappling of asterisks. The magic is private, potent, passionate. Nighthawk, I drift, sidewalks, I riff, on daydreams, on my oniric night shifts, daybreak, day broke me, I'm here for my night fix. That doubloon moon looms like a buttered spotlight. Religion or ritual isn't simply a walk, right? A calm night, a long night, combine and all's mine. I get to live when there's no one up. I've got to live like there are no one ups. No one ups. Thank you.
All right. All right. Yeah. So Linda Bullock is one of the nicest people that you would ever meet. and she's here, ladies and gentlemen, Linda Bullock.
You shit. Good afternoon, everybody. This poem is just inspired by Black History Events, and it's called For Whom the Bell Tolls. Show me a movie with historic notes that remind me of lesser days. Read me a poem of one who suffered and survived those lesser days. Sing me a song of how many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man. Show me images of those mistreated at the hand of another man. It's important to remember from whence we have come. Let each generation know that theirs is not the beginning, but the continuation of what was long begun. Strong foundations have been laid and amazing strides have been made, from astrophysics to the straightening comb. There are no limits to what the once thought feeble brain could do. Show me a movie with historic notes that remind me of lesser days. Now you can see how far we have come in so many ways. Walk in my shoes for a day and your feet will be sore. Walk in my shoes for generations and your feet will be deformed. Let me try in your shoes? No thanks. I'll fashion my own and they will be comfortable for my hammer toes, bunions, and corns. The remembrance of those lesser days is not just for those who suffered. The remembrance of those lesser days is also for those who allowed the suffering. How long? How many roads? When will you realize for whom the bell tolls? It tolls for thee.
Thank you very much, Linda. And now we bring back co-host, the wonderful, talented Maggie Bloomfield.
I am bowled over by this afternoon. My goodness. I'm reading a poem by Mahogany Brown. She's a New York City poet, the first poet in residence at Lincoln Center currently. It's called This is the Honey. There is no room on this planet for anything less than a miracle. We gather here today to revel in the rebellion of a silent tongue. Every day we lean forward into the light of our brightest design and cherish the sun, praise our hands and throats, each incantation a jubilee of a people dreaming wildly, despite the dirt beneath our feet or the wind pushing against our greatest efforts. Soil creates things, art births change. This is the honey. Doesn't it taste like a promise? Where your heart is an accordion and our laughter is a soundtrack. Friend, dance to this good song. Look how it holds our names. Each bone of our flesh home sings welcome. Oh, look at the gods dancing as the rain rains against a steely skyline where grandparents sit on the porch and nod at the spectacle in awe of the perfection of their grandchildren's faces. Each small discovery unearthed in its own outpour. Tomorrow, our daughters will travel the world with each poem, and our sons will design cities against the backdrops of living museums. Yes, our children will spin chalk until each equation bursts a familial tree, rooted in miraculous possibilities and alive.
And now we're going to bring back our features. Herb, we're going to have you start first. Herb,
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Awesome.
And definitely, what a great afternoon of poetry. It's just amazing. Great. Anyway, here's another song lyric for my late wife, Lorinda. What else? You found all my hiding places, charted all my shifting phases, peeling layers like an onion, soaring, visionary woman, flying all the way above blue. What else can I do than love you? Changing lives is easy to do. Magic comes so breezy to you. Life for me was too dramatic. Nothing was just automatic. Now I'm flying way above blue. What else can I do than love you? I can't believe all I received from simply loving you. And loving you is all that I can do. It's true, so true. Yesterday's life was confusing. All I knew was constant losing, betting on corrupted horses, failing even easy courses. Now I'm flying way above blue. What else can I do than love you? Pounded by pathetic problems, never knowing how to solve them. Life that was one vicious circle, answering any berserk call. But now I can fly above blue. What else can I do than love you? I can't believe all I received from simply loving you. And loving you is all that I can do. It's true, so true. You found all my hiding places, charted all my shifting phases, peeling layers like an onion, soaring visionary woman, flying all the way above blue. What else can I do than love you? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Herb, and Maggie's that form was wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, Lillie Crowder.
And so my Black History poem is called Dry Bones. Beneath earth's ground and fertile soil lay remnants of enslaved masters and factions. Compelling dry bones of my ancestors whisper, resting is my reward for the time I've toiled. Look upon these brittle bones all covered in dust. Search for the real me, but do not yet touch, till some others can look beyond this sandy husk and discern how conditions were for many former us. Dry bones hold a significant key to truths which textbooks don't convey. Research that which is mostly hearsay, find those treasures buried deep, unearth and reconstruct our history. Dry bones, from down here in darkness, my final abode, my ancestor speaks. Consciousness remains in my dried up bones. I can still hear the quarter notes and the half notes and the rhythm that connected my moans, my mother's moans, and my father's groans. The essence of this tone, body part, conveys no untruths, but rather of the trials and the struggles of us in shattered hues, of those of 1,000 yesterdays who perished before freedom came, of those who labored in pain but served their race without shame. And as you look upon those dust-laden dry bones, not mine alone, and reflect on our ancestors in places unkept and overgrown, pioneers and trailblazers and leaders whose worth will never have been known, but see far beyond the elements of their existence. See in their scattered dry bones. Dignify their legacy, extract from the dust their being connecting to the dots and ensure that they are in the annals of history. And so as we celebrate again Black history, we acknowledge Dr. Carter G. Woodson. His dry bones lie in Lincoln Memorial Cemetery in Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And part of you, Nixon, is the man who started Black History Month. It started at Black History Week, but you know, it's Black History Month now. Now, lastly, we have Christina Raoul. I like that.
Well, I always tell my students that it rhymes with wow, so that way they'll never forget. Okay. So this is something completely different. If I could bring the fjord to you, you couldn't stop thinking of the idea after reading of The Secluded Hut, the philosopher in search of isolation to think straight. A fjord. It's so far, though, in these days not possible. If only I could bring the fjord to you. But first, I really don't know what a fjord is, other than cold and in Iceland or Norway. I've looked it up. Fjord, noun. A long, narrow inlet of the sea between high cliffs typically formed by submergence of a glaciated valley. I don't know what that means. A glaciated valley is also known as a glaciate trough, a stream that has been glaciated, usually to a typical cadentary or U-shaped cross-section. I still don't know what that means. Cadentary is a curve that an idealized hanging chain or cable assumes under its own weight when supported only at its ends, and also glaciated means covered or having been covered by glacier. A glacier is a sheet of ice. A sheet is a large rectangular piece of cotton used on a bed to cover a mattress. And so, here it is, a gift from me to you. I went to the JCPenney, where all the fjords were on sale. Full-sized, extra-long jersey knit fjords, flannel-fitted California king fjords, Martha Stewart one-set home collection fjords, polka dot, bed in a bag, Egyptian threaded fjords, an entire department store section, metal tiered display cubes, floor model sets, put in a cart and then in a car, and then neatly wrapped and brought to you. So you no longer have to dream of how the ice feels when it breaks from the shelf, or the scent of water over water from the very deep, or what the drop into the stream may sound like. It's all here right now at the ready for you to get up close and live in its very wonder. Thank you.
More hand for everybody. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Riverhead Library. Next month, Marguerite Wall and Travis Madigan, and as yet undisclosed third poet, will be featuring. So come back. It's been a wonderful, amazing afternoon. Safe trip home, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Happy Black History Month. And check us out. Our website is www.poetrystreetontheroad.com. Thank you. Have a good day. Be safe.